How have things been going? It must be an incredible couple of years since you became runner-up on American Idol.
Well, I think it's been 2 years, 2 years probably now. Yeah, 2 years. Yeah.
Is it like everything's just flown because it's like, one day nobody knew who you were, and then the next day it's like Clay Aiken, everybody knows who you are?
Well, it's very interesting since most people never knew. Yeah, most people wouldn't call my name, didn't want me around, and there's still people who don't want me around. Let's be honest. But it's interesting to go out in public and be stared at and pointed at and looked at and all that stuff. It's kind of strange.
Did you ever think in your wildest dreams that something like this would ever happen to you?
No, I really, maybe in my wildest ones, I didn't really ever dream of being a singer. I always kind of thought I would be a teacher and continue to, and maybe have kids know who I am. But I don't think I never dreamed to do anything like this. No.
I've read so much about you, and I've seen you in interviews and stuff, and in a lot of ways, you're hope for a lot of people. I mean, you always say that you were the nerd in school. You were the guy that nobody ever really looked at, and in fact, you even said that you were picked on a lot too. Do you think the things that have happened to you in the last couple of years gives hope to a lot of other people in thinking, you know what, if he can do it, I can do it?
I think it's karma. Good for me and bad for those people who are mean to me. I'd like to think about, regardless of how you perceive yourself or how you perceive your experience and with your peers at whatever age, that should be looked beyond. And obviously people who, everyone has a special gift, whether it be in the arts or in academics or in science or whatnot. People have to just find what it is that they're passionate about, what they're good at, and use their talents to better themselves. I don't think that people should assume that being famous is successful at all. I think that there are many, many ways, and it's kind of interesting to someone. But I've gotten that question a number of times when people say, are you hope for people? I think there are plenty of people out there who give hope to others without realizing it, because maybe they were the people who were picked on, and now they're they have a successful job and a happy family. And I think that you can be successful and give other people hope no matter what it is that you do. So I think maybe mine's more visible than others are, but I think that and having people being on the radio is one way to do it, but it's obviously not the only way to be successful and happy.
When we're talking about success too, really, if you look at the numbers and you look at things that have happened, you're probably the most successful person to come out of American Idol. Of course, winning awards, your album doing so well.
I think that's subject to opinion as well. Obviously there are people who come off the show who've had success in their own way. Ruben, who I was on the show with, has been successful in his own particular market. And I think in some ways the market that I play to is a little more mainstream. But then you got Kelly Clarkson, who is just buku successful, and she's had amazing amounts of record success and radio success, and period. So I appreciate the compliment, but I don't know that I'm most successful. I think again, depends on success. Success is relative. It depends on what it is that you want to do. I know that one of my really good friends, Kimberly Locke, is extremely successful, so she's happy. She's working on her second album now. The sales were not the same, but she's extremely happy, and that's success to anybody. It's very relative.
How has the business changed you in the last 2 years personally? It's one thing when you think about what's it going to be like, being part of this, big world, and then once you're in it and you've done it, what are the things that you've learned? How has it changed you?
I don't know that it's changed me too much. I've definitely learned quite a few things. Obviously, when I sat back at home in North Carolina, I kind of assumed that a celebrity was, wine and roses and limos and parties and whatnot, and it's not at all. I sit around in my hotel room more than I do anything else. But, you definitely get a different perception. I always think it's so funny when I'm walking around in my pajamas all day long, and I say, this is fame. But, it's quite different than people assume it is. But at the same time, I've probably gotten a lot smarter. I'm never a businessman as a teacher. Your job is to do your lesson plans and get your get your students taught and go home and grade papers and whatnot. And as a, I never learned how to be very savvy in business. And I mean, I don't know that I'm still the most savvy. I probably think with my heart a little more than I do my head sometimes, which can prove to be a problem. But I'm getting a little bit better.
You talked about your heart, and you've done certain things. Like, you have a charity, correct?
I do, right, yes.
Talk a little bit about that, please.
I worked, like I said, as a teacher. I taught special ed for a few years, and I also worked at the YMCA in North Carolina for quite a while, for a number of years. And through those experiences and through my, I guess, this newfound presence, I guess, and having people listen to me, I kind of worked with the lady who convinced me to audition for American Idol and me to be a part of this, whose son has autism. And I had the opportunity to work on a program for children with disabilities that includes them in programs with kids without disabilities. So it's children with developmental disabilities who actually, we're putting them in summer children without disabilities, so that they get the full life experience that they should be afforded, but oftentimes are not because of their disability. So we the programs that include children with disabilities.
Of course, you've had a successful album. Like, what other works are you working on now? Is there a new album in the works, or what?
Well, we are. We're staying quite busy for the next few months. We are right now finishing up this summer tour, which has been quite exciting to me. We're working on a Christmas tour. We went out for Christmas last year and had a lot of success with that. One of my favorite tours to support the last year's Christmas album. So we're going to head back out on the road for that at Christmas, and then at the same time we're going to continue working on our next studio album. We actually have a producer, an executive producer who I'm working with, who's actually from Canada. She's James Foster Levy. People obviously know who David Foster is in Canada, but his sister James Foster Levy is the executive producer of this album, and we're working on finding songs and getting things together, and hopefully having an album out first quarter of next year, hopefully.
People are always asking you advice about American Idol. I mean, we have Canadian Idol up here. What advice do you usually give people who want to be on the show?
I think that trying too hard is usually people's downfall. You have to really go in and be yourself, and you really. I mean, I know you people say that, and everybody says I'm just trying to be myself, but I've watched way too many auditions on that show, and seen way too many people who try to be somebody they're not. They go in there and they sing and they do some clothes that they think a pop star would wear, and they sing a song the way they think a pop star would sing it. And you just have to go in there and be yourself. And you really have to know who you are, and not only know who you are, but more importantly, be happy with who you are. Otherwise, it's not going to be successful, because it shows. I think you have to know who you are, but you have to be proud of yourself.
We've got about maybe 30 seconds left. I've had a couple of people who had emailed me when I told them that I was going to be interviewing you, and it's a couple of women, and they want to know, are you single or not?
Well, currently, unless you consider my dog, then yeah, I am.
Clay, thank you so much for your time. This has really been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to you coming down to Toronto.
Thank you so much.